Yep, we're live. Give me a second. Things get turned on. Coming up.
Take one, pass it down.
Any correspondence?
Any new members?
None of that stuff.
Thank you. You got one old member. You got one
Single
old
purpose.
member.
All right. All right, we're all here. Let's go ahead and call to order special meeting of the Board of Trustees on May 7, 2019. You have an agenda. You saw an agenda. May I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Wayne second. And Linda seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. As this is a special purpose, there's essentially only one thing on the agenda this evening. At the last meeting, we had, well, over the last several months, we've had a number of meetings discussing a possible assessment increase for the hills, for our monthly assessments. And we had several questions. We had asked some iterations from the management committee, and we felt that it was most important to rediscuss this, and if we would take a vote or make any steps on this, that we needed to do it in an open meeting, which would be, of course, available over the YouTube channel, as well as inviting people to come in. So that's the purpose of the meeting tonight. It's to discuss, it's to look at the revisions that the management committee has, and look at the proposal that we have for the assessment increase. The way the rules are written, if we want to vote on this at the annual meeting, which is in August, it's the third Sunday in August, we will need to vote within the next 10 days. The next meeting that we have, the board meeting, the regular board meeting, will be within 90 days. You have to have a 90-day period of any motions or any issues have to be approved for 90 days before the annual meeting. And so if we waited for the next board meeting, it would have been past that, and then we would have been obviously overtaken by events. So that's the purpose of the meeting tonight, is to look at that, to give the board an opportunity to review the proposal that's been made, discuss the particulars of it, share it with the community, and go from there. That being said, are there any questions about that? Anybody have about what we're doing tonight? I would like to turn the floor over to the management committee, Jim Kirk and Randy Swetnam, to give us a summarization of what we see in front of us.
Okay, after some feedback from some members, and by the way, I do need to publicly acknowledge the fact that Jim Lloyd found the math mistake in my spreadsheet. I expected it from a couple other people and not from Jim, but thank you, Jim, for finding that. The spreadsheet, the totals at the bottom.
Turn the mic up. We had an email, somebody saying that they couldn't hear a lot of the comments in the meetings, and tonight they wanted to hear the comments of the manager.
I thought I was kind of like Scott, all I got to do is open up the door and everybody's going to hear me anyway.
Yeah, it's usually directed at me.
The spreadsheet, the totals at the bottom didn't change. What did change is I changed the order of a few of the things. The things that we're going to address in the first year are security and safety issues like RFID. Also, which it is a safety issue, the ditches and culverts, that sort of thing. And I broke out some of the stuff that was in that equipment needs depreciation funds, capital fund category is now kind of broke out underneath it. You also have a copy of the depreciation fund planning worksheet, which lists the equipment that's going to need a lot of money spent on it over the next 4 or 5 years, and it's broke out by year on there. That's just updated today with some estimates that we got on stuff. That is what you have in front of you. The other thing that, after some feedback from members of the board and other members, we would propose that, well, let me just kind of read what I've got here. The dam assessment on a monthly basis is $72.21. The last payment, if you're paying it by the month, is May of 21. May 1st of 21 is when it's due. So we're proposing that the three-step assessment would go as follows instead of what we talked about at the last meeting. The first $20 would take effect January of 2020, in other words, January of next year. The second 20 we would hold off until June of 21, so it would not happen until after the dam assessment's gone from the approximate 400 members that are doing it by the month. The third step would take effect January of 22. So there'd be a 6-month, we're pushing the second one out about 6 months so that it doesn't hit while people are still making the dam assessment payment. That's basically the only change. We also, I fixed the math that Jim found, which was on the annual wage increase line. And you have it in front of you.
Jim, on the last year start January of 22, is that also $20?
Yes. 20, 20, and 20.
Yeah, it reads 2046.
Well, on there, that, yes, yeah.
But it really is 20.
Right. It's 20, 40, and 60 over present.
Yes.
Yeah.
Could you go down, I think for the purpose of several of the people here, maybe go through and just give us a short description, not lengthy, of the line items that you're.
Sure. Ditches and culverts, that's going to be annual and ongoing. And we've got 31 or 37, depending on who you ask, miles of road in here. And if I remember right, when we put this together a year or so ago, over 10% of them have ditches that need immediate repairs done to them. And pretty
What was that
significant.
percentage? I'm sorry.
Over 10%.
How was that decided?
By driving around and looking at it.
We actually measured some of the ditches we're talking about are steep hills, right?
Not necessarily, not all of them.
That are eroding. Do we have ones that are on flat areas that are?
Look back back here by Wyandotte, right there on that corner, Wyandotte and Maya, where Maya takes off down to the reserve, that area right there, how bad that is. And it's not necessarily the hills. There's some that's getting deeper as we speak along the flat.
My concern is that estimate may be too conservative. Our weather patterns are changing. We've had some really wet weather, gully washers, and I think that number may be too little.
Well, that's the numbers what we came up with last year, and it involved Rick with maintenance and actually I think Paul and Jim McNabb, and basically driving around with a map and marking where the ditches, the worst ones that were needing repair. There's a couple major culverts that need addressed this year. One over by the beach and one up in the north end, Beaver Lane, that are significant costs.
Here's my concern. Anoka, for example, it's degrading as we speak. Now it may not be one of your 10%, but I think our number one infrastructure has to be our roads. It's the only way we can get to and from anywhere. And I think they are worse than what maybe we're saying. That's just my thought from driving around, nothing scientific, but I would be throwing a lot more money toward our roads than a lot of the other things maybe listed here. Just my input.
just to let you guys know, I've driven every road in here. And you're probably right, since we've had absolutely unbelievable rains. The roads in here. The other thing is what most people don't understand. For us to fix these roads, we actually need a dozer and a track hoe to do them right. We will never ever be able to afford all that. And it's just one of those things that people don't understand. When you look at some of these roads, the shale that's along the side of them, that's what's deteriorating.
Yeah, it's collapsing.
Yeah, and in order to do that, you almost have to go in with a dozer and cut them back with a dozer and track out. And we'll never have the money for that stuff.
So how do we address our roads in a manner that's cost effective and does what we need to do then?
Well, Linda, the plan right now is, there's 3 more stages of MotoPay to do. And even while the MotoPay is going on, the money above and beyond what the MotoPay costs every year, Rick and the maintenance crew are going around and finding the worst. And most of them, unfortunately, are over on the west side of the lake. They're looking for the worst spots and working on widening them and working on getting a base back under them before they do the chip and seal. They fixed, what was it, Fox?
Yeah, Fox's Lane at the end.
Yeah.
It's always been closed. We fixed that last year. Some people living on it asked me, and I said, well, let me go look at it. I looked at it, so Rick and I went and looked at it. We spent a lot of time over there, and we got it fixed. It's not 100%, but compared to what it was, it is. Fox Lane was really, really bad.
And that's why we broke out ditches and culverts from the road assessment. And it's being handled in this. And that should leave enough in the road assessment annually, even with the MotoPave, to continue to upgrade the road. Once the MotoPave's done, because there's only so far we can go around that west side before we run into some roads and hills that no contractor will come in and do MotoPaving on. Then we will, all the money will go towards widening the roads back, trying to get some base under them, because a lot of them there isn't a ton of base. I mean,
No.
This is old 2-track, you know.
Jim, is it not also a factor that no matter how much money you had, you only have so much maintenance hours to do it?
That's a part of it. We're actually going to look at having an outside contractor. We're going to look at the cost, get quotes on some of the stuff that we need to do this year and going forward, and do a little comparison. But more than likely, our guys do, with what they've got, equipment-wise and funds, they do an excellent job. They really do. That's the first one. The next one is maintenance facility upgrade. Our maintenance guys are requested to sleep over during the winter time down in that building. They built bunks in a corner, and it doesn't even have running water. They have no bathroom facilities, no nothing. It's been promised to them for years.
Yeah, we had a plan to do it, and then the dam failed.
Right. Right.
That
So
was literally what happened.
that's not a ton of money, but that's something that is high up on the priority list to, so that those guys, don't feel like second-class citizens when they come to work every day. They got to go somewhere else they got a bucket basically that they fill full of water, and then they got a little spigot on the bucket so they can wash their hands. So that's why that one's on there.
That's one time.
Yes. Yes. Lake Arrowhead and Tomahawk repairs. Thanks to the Lakes Committee coming up with, helping out. It's not going to be as much as it could have been. They're coming up with about $20,000 to repair the 2 principal spillways, which we got film on the damage that's inside them, the rust, and they are at this point salvageable without digging them up and replacing them. So that's a pretty high priority. The
will not allow Arrowhead to fill. It just takes
It'll
it-
allow Arrowhead to fill, it won't allow Tomahawk.
Tomahawk, thank you, Lakey Lake.
Right, right. RFID gate system, that's a, safety and security issue. Those back three gates, there's just, right now, we have no idea how many people have access, that have the old clickers or have programmed the clickers into their vehicles. We have incident reports written up quite often of people coming in those back gates that aren't supposed to be. If we truly want to have a gated, secure community, then we need to upgrade those gates. The next one down, which won't take effect till the second year, is an annual wage increase. If you do a little bit of a wage survey, which Randy has over the past few years, we're going into trying to hire people with one hand tied behind our back. We're trying to advertise for jobs at dollars below what anybody in Lancaster or Logan's hiring at. This would give us the opportunity over a few years to give them 5% bonus to try to get them up to where each year, to where we get them up to where they're, I guess a new political term is a living wage kind of thing. The equipment needs depreciation fund, that's basically that second list that you were given. If you look, this year I think we're pretty much done. Next year we will possibly have enough money if nothing else breaks. Then we start running into some, more expense, more fairway mowers, more mowers period, more trucks. We have, you go out a few years and you run into where we have to replace a dump truck. And right now that fund is $124,000 basically a year.
Yeah, about 10-6.
Yeah. And a dump truck will run us $125,000. So if we don't change how we're funding that, one disaster of a truck getting wrecked or blowing up and not any good anymore, and we won't be able to fund the other stuff that we need to buy.
As a point of historical reference, the first budget I did on the management committee in 2011, that was the same amount we were budgeting at that time.
It's 10-6 a month.
Yeah, that was in 2011.
Also, Jim, remember, we spent about $300,000 out of that fund for the engineering costs for the dam. So
Absolutely correct.
just because we had to, and that basically drained that fund down to what it is now.
Yes.
So just clarify that.
And also, it causes to defer maintenance. I mean, we've been holding as close as we can to what we have, but yes, those, that was something we had to prioritize higher and just had to go forward to.
Yeah. The next line is golf course annual budget additions. As a couple members of the board and myself and a few others sat down with Rick and Elmer a few months ago, the question was basically what happened to grass last late summer, right? And the feedback we got is their budget for chemicals to treat for dollar spot and other invasive grasses and weeds was enough to basically do the greens. So they had nothing to kill the issues in the fairways. So they were losing the fairways late in the season about every year. And they also do not have the material to top dress or aerate the whole golf course. If they were lucky, they have enough to do the greens every year, if I remember right. And that's just, if you lived in a subdivision and had your own yard, you would aerate it every year. And that's something that a golf course needs to have. So that's upping their budget so that they can actually maintain the golf course. Next one is a security building. The original form that I was handed out 2 weeks ago or whatever it was to replace the building. That would still be the goal, but backed it down to an addition, for budget purposes on this, and that would be replacing that little, shed, thanks, that's attached to the back of it. Basically, take that off, and then with the dimensions of the building, go straight back. I don't know, we didn't actually, this is kind of a scientific guess. It's not really, we didn't have a contractor come out and look and see what it was gonna cost. But instead of replacing the whole building, doing an addition, one that looks nice, looks the same as the, you know, can be painted the same as the, security building, so it's not an eyesore when you pull in. Doesn't look like a shed attached to the back of it. But something has to be done there, as anybody in here knows that gets packages from Amazon or whoever. That place, they were still making phone calls the other night at 6:30. They got so many packages in, and this is, what, 1st of May? You know, when Christmas comes around this year, it's gonna be, in fact, they're actually planning, if they can get staffed up enough, to have one of the part-timers start working Monday through Friday from about 3 to 6, just to come in and help do the packages. Is how much of a burden it's becoming on the staff and on the facility.
And that was something that we didn't do 10 years ago.
Oh, no.
So because this goes out to the 4th year on this spreadsheet, does that mean you're not planning on doing it for the 4th year? Or I see it's an ongoing expense for the security building addition.
No, it's not ongoing. On the security building, it's 75,000 for 3 years.
Yeah, for 3 years. So
Yeah.
would you build it and then pay for it, or?
Yeah.
I guess, when I looked at that line item, I was confused too. Because second year, it talks about $6,250 a month. Well, that's roughly,
74,000.
yeah. So, and then it's 74,000 for 3 years. Well, that's a one-time expense, isn't it?
Jim, you didn't find my other math mistake.
Hey, I found one.
Well, I was looking at it this afternoon and I get confused easily.
Well, I'll have to work on that. I don't think it should be on there for, I think that might have been for when we were gonna replace the whole building.
That would take
I
care of
changed
the
the
whole
number over
building, yeah.
here, but I didn't change it over there. The next line is securing the ORV track, shooting range, airstrip, and boneyard with fencing. We've got 2 issues that we're trying to address when we do that. One is, nobody wants to store anything in the boneyard of value because it comes up missing.
It loses its value.
It loses its value. Pieces and parts get stolen off the trailers. No contractor wants to put his stuff over there.
That's ultimate depreciation.
You put a boat trailer over there and go back 3 months later to pull your boat out, and your trailer's no longer there. It's not a secure place. There's a lock on the gate, but there's 100 ways around that gate. And the other end, there's a real easy way in. And we have people getting in there and using the ORV track that aren't supposed to be. We have people getting in there and trashing the shooting range and playing around over there. And there's just too many ways to get in there. And it's a liability issue for us if there's people running around over there. They get hurt or on our property.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to face that. So that's why that's on there.
Where would the fencing actually, where would it go? I mean, that's a lot of
Yeah.
territory back there.
And
Oh,
we haven't gone back there and figured out where the posts are going to go yet. We just know that we have to somehow secure it.
What type of fence?
Just going to be
Chain link.
yeah. And then that's still, you know, put a fence up unless you put 10 foot up with concertina wire around the top. All you're going to do is keep honest people honest because somebody else will still figure out a way to get in there. But hopefully they won't be able to drag somebody's boat trailer over top of the chain link fence. Next line is upgrade the sprinkler system. Our golf course has a single line sprinkler system on all but 1.5 holes, I think. And that, when they do need to water, which they didn't need to most of last summer, and so far this year, they probably haven't had to water too much because we've been blessed with too much rain. The sprinklers only get basically the middle of the fairway, and they don't even get to all the edges of the fairway, which makes it very difficult to grow grass, and the golf course is grass. So that would be going in on 2 through 9, about halfway up 9, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and part of 9, and taking out or adding on to the sprinkler system so that it's a dual line, runs down the sides and catches the rough and all the fairway and the greens and everything. And the last thing on here is a pool liner. About every 3 to 5 years, it cost, and in 2015 it cost $22,000. Our pool needs to be re-lined, and it's something that's in the budget. It's got to be done.
Jim, you might mention on the Lake Tomahawk Arrowhead that we have to do that, or it's gonna cost us a lot more money.
Correct. Right now they're repairable. We can go in, and we've had at least one company or two. Where's Sue at? Oh. We've had at least one company, if not two, look at putting a liner in the existing pipe, and those pipes are still at this point in good enough shape to do that too. If they deteriorate too much more, then we're looking at pulling the pipe. Pardon me?
You have to excavate it.
Yeah.
Open the dams up, fill in the lake.
Yeah, that
What about
would.
deal with all the water when you have these big rains? It'll hit, the lake down below by maintenance. Be a real mess. If we don't fix it now for the money that's required now, which is not that much, but if we wait, we're looking at close to $400,000 and a lot of damage, so.
Well, Sue, didn't we put it off? ODNR gave us a timeline to get those fixed, if I remember right.
They've been sending us letters since the 90s.
Yes.
These things that pipe is dead at Tomahawk.
Yes.
So, I mean, they gave us a little time because we did some improvements a few years ago, but not to the pipe, just to the drain area.
That time's coming due. So I guess to summarize, and I'll take it, and obviously other folks can speak it in their own mind. This is an attempt after last year where we went with a fairly modest increase, which was far less than what the management committee had recommended. We were nearly successful. Obviously, about 5 or 6 votes was all we needed to flip. We then decided to look at this in a much more substantial way and try to cover it. The comments that came from the board at the time were that if we're going to do this, we need to do essentially a major effort to do it. That just doing a piecemeal, a few dollars here and a few dollars there, we would be collecting more money, but our membership wouldn't be happy because the money wouldn't go very far, and we just didn't think that was going to be a successful outcome. So that's what you see in front of you. We have talked about quite a bit about the amount. As Jim indicated, over half of the families here are still paying the dam assessment at $72 a month and will for another 2 years. So we thought the idea of stepping it in to coincide would probably, hopefully, lessen the impact on people. And ultimately, by the time when this is fully funded, it'll still be less than what folks are paying now. So at a marginal level, that was part of the strategy that we had there. So that is the proposal. It would be $20. It would go from 168 to 188 this January 1. Then again, it would go another 20 on June 1 or July 1.
June 1 of
2021. So you would have 7 months of the increase. It wouldn't be the whole year. It would be 7 months of the additional $20. And then the following January, it would go up another $20. Yeah. And again, that's strongly recommended by the management committee for the reasons you see in front of you. Obviously, with budgets, these are the targets that we're looking at. Certainly the ditches, culverts, and infrastructure are the main thing. That salary increases for our staff, and then also additional infrastructure as we can get there.
Will there be any cost of living increase
Not
during
during,
that period of time?
No,
not during these 3 years.
that's correct. I mean, that's the proposal that's on the floor. That's what we're
January
discuss.
1st of 2023, the CPIW would go back in.
That's correct, because that's been approved through 2028, I believe.
Right, but that'll be
That'll come after.
after this
Yeah,
year.
it will not be on top of this. This will be 2020, 20, half a year or 7 months of 20 more, and then another full year of 20 if we get to the $60 level. That's the proposal that they're making. And that, I think, when you talk about 60 on a roughly $170 base, you're talking a fairly substantial increase in our funding, but also in our ability to deal with the issues that we have.
What the people in the audience and anybody watching that doesn't have access to is this equipment replacement planning worksheet. In addition to the dump truck, which is $80,000, you got mowers at $68,000. And well, I guess there's a truck at 30. I mean, the numbers are big that we have to spend. It's not a wish list.
Yeah, the dump truck's 130.
Yeah.
And now this figure, we haven't gone out and totally confirmed, but if we were to need to replace any one of the docks, totally, so the whole dock would be around $80,000, and they wear out after a while. And fortunately, you can
On our hills?
docks.
Oh, it's docks. I'm sorry, I thought you were talking about the dump truck still.
Well, the dump trucks do too.
Yes.
I understand that we used to drive one around that didn't have brakes. So
That is correct.
fortunately, we're not doing that anymore. But there's some
We had to throw
significant
it in
expenses.
reverse to get it to stop.
That equipment fund
Yeah.
depreciation list is as Jim kind of manages that list for us, and it's what we can do every year. It's like you just keep your fingers crossed that something else expensive doesn't break, because I think there's when we're done, there's basically a contingency of about 10 grand. Period. That won't buy a lot.
Like a couple of trucks in there too, or 2005 trucks.
Well, fortunately, I'll tell you what, our guys do a exceptionally good job of keeping up the maintenance on the equipment. They wring out the last drop that they can out of each piece of equipment. And some of it kind of looks that way, that little buggy thing that goes right around here.
Part of the folklore of highway hills.
I think so. It's on here to be replaced.
It's irreplaceable though.
Well, we might make it part of the landscaping somewhere.
That could be a planter.
We actually bought that for a member who was getting rid of it. He made us a deal that was too good to refuse.
Well, it gets all the way down to,
Not pretty close.
like tonight. Everybody that's sitting on these chairs, are those padded chairs?
Some of them are.
It can be the little stuff too, and we need to do something about it.
Jim, I've got a few comments. First off, I'd like to go in. I want to point out that management committees are all volunteers. You guys are tasked with this pain in the neck job, and I appreciate what you guys are doing. It's a lot of work, I get it.
Thank you.
As I go through this list, and obviously a lot was put into this, I see a lot of things that are one-time fees. And my calculations based on what I just put together was about $383,000 of one-time fees. We're looking at raising, based on 750 is what I think our average of accounts. Is that 750 accounts? Is that about what you were using?
Well, I used the total dollars, so
Okay, I would just guess at how many accounts we got.
it's
I think
730 something.
740. Okay, so I'm close.
You're
So,
very close.
so you're generating close to $1 million over this, in additional fees over this 3 years of these increases. Okay. I guess my question is, we have a lot of one-time costs in here. And after 3 years, I'm trying to understand what we're doing with the extra money.
Well, first off, let's use the wage increase as an example. That, if you take it up 5%, I'll just use an easy number because that's how my brain works, and sometimes it doesn't work on numbers. If payroll's 100,000 and we give them a 5% increase, that's 5,000. Second year, it should be 5,000 and something, but we'll just use 5,000. At the end of the 3 years, that 15,000 doesn't go away. So it needs to be kept funded.
But that's why we have the CPI increase. That's part of it.
But if you dropped.
But that's not one of the one-time
Yeah.
issues. That's a complete different thing.
Right.
That's ongoing and it just keeps going.
And I agree, I think our certainly our capital equipment depreciation and so forth, our employee issues, I certainly understand that. I guess I'm just trying to give you the opportunity, if we have, at the end of 3 years, we have all these things we paid for in that $60 assessment or over those 3 years, now what are we going to do with that money?
Well, if you also look, they kind of go, some of them go out into the 4th and 5th year,
but you're raising it in that first year. And so I guess one of the things that came to me was maybe we should have an assessment increase to handle our depreciation issues, our employee issues, and then have a one-time assessment to cover some of these one-time issues that we need to raise.
Well, more than that is roads too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and on top of that, and the guys that sit in management, you come to quite a few management meetings. There's stuff that isn't listed here. There's the 2 mail houses in the next 3 to 5 years are gonna need addressed. Either raise them up and re-landscape around them, or tear them down and start over. The maintenance facility for the golf course, he needs more storage space. The maintenance facility, period. The barn, the horse barn, one of these days, the bubble gum and MacGyver tape isn't gonna keep the roof from leaking and those sort of things. I don't think that, I don't think the one-timers are gonna end in 3 years. We could, we could put our heads together and come up with the next 3 years worth of one-time events, but we didn't for this.
And I'm not trying to deride you on this, I think people are gonna look at this and they're gonna go, ask the same questions I did, I just wanted to address it here in the meeting, so.
Well, if you went with your idea and did it as a one-time deal and then let the CPIW try to kick back in, I think there's really no way to know for sure, but the CPIW hasn't kept up like it was hopefully going to do over the last 4 or 5 years, or we wouldn't be sitting here.
Oh, yeah, the one year we had no increase, another year was.
And when you don't get a
$12
CPIW increase, you still have to give your employees a little bit of an increase, and you still probably have an increase in your internet bills and all that kind of stuff.
Well, they're just plain old ordinary inflation too.
Yeah.
Plain old ordinary inflation.
Well, the CPIW was kind of supposed to
Take care of that, but, well, from 2008 until 2019, the CPIW is going up $31. That's the increase between the assessment in 2008 and 2019. I am correct on that, right, Randy?
Yep.
I checked with Randy, it's gone up $31,
Yeah.
which is less than $3 a year.
I think, Eric, you raise a good point, and it should be addressed because people will ask in the meeting, no doubt, so good point. But I think what we need to do, trying to explain this, is that it's ongoing, and then start comparing it to what people in condo associations and places like that are paying for a heck of a lot less than what we offer people, because we have no user fees. We got a golf course, driving range, shooting range, ATV course, all kinds of things that we are providing at actually a relatively minimal cost, and it's catching up to us because it's starting to wear out.
We had a note, by the way, please try to speak into your microphones, I guess people online are hearing us.
This is Jim.
No, I bet it's mine.
It wasn't me.
You guys all voice it.
I'm trying.
So Eric, I understand your question, discussion, I think was very helpful. Things break, our infrastructure is old. How we put all that out to our membership and explain it, because yeah, we're gonna get through 3 to 5 years here trying to do these things that we've listed. But in the meantime, we may have X, Y, Z to come up and we won't know how to handle it. So when we get done with this portion of everything and we still have whatever assessment that we have in an increased form, we would be able to use that money to go toward those things. And as well as we're sitting here, there will be issues that arise. Who knows what? Maybe it'll be the lodge. Maybe it'll be the clubhouse. Maybe there's still the guard shack down front. Who knows if that's enough money for the roads. I mean, this is all an educated, I hate to say it, educated guess, because we don't know what we don't know.
Well,
And if the economy keeps going the way it is, I know we just, in order to get people, we had to bump our wages by $2 an hour, and that ain't 5%.
Yeah.
So, it could be that in order to get people here, we're gonna have to do the same thing.
Yeah, and it's not a living wage.
To your point, and like Jim pointed out, if we use $300,000 of the money out of the depreciation fund to do the engineering studies and everything at the beginning, if this ends up giving us a little bit of what will look like a rainy day fund, for lack of a better term, we would then be able to turn around and go over on some of the roads on the other side that are not as wide. We'd have the money to actually go spend it, rent a bulldozer, or have somebody come in and actually help get the roads back.
Have a generator for the clubhouse, have a generator for lodge. I mean, these are things that we'd love to have.
Well, we should have that.
Well, we got basic, we got generators for the freezers and the refrigerators.
Yeah.
But a place like this, I mean, why? Well, I know why, because the cost, it's cost prohibitive, but we should have a building generator that comes on, diesel that comes on when the power goes out. Of course, you get to hear it 5 or 6 times a year, but
well, that would be kind of nice, because most of us sit in the dark or have our loud generator going and would like to go out somewhere. So it would be nice to
open.
Yeah, but that's in the future. I understand that, and we have a lot of discussing with our membership. But after looking at this and looking at it again, I don't feel bad about these numbers. I worry a little bit that we haven't put enough in for the roads, but
I'll tell you, I've been down here a long time, and I remember when we couldn't meet the depreciation fund when it was $5,000, and the capital improvement fund, just so we could make payroll. And I've been down here when we had $300,000 in that kitty, and it sure is a comfortable feeling, and it paid off because of the dam. And we'd have had to charge the members $300,000 more had we not had that. I personally, I don't have a bit of a problem with sitting there with $500,000 in there, because when you need it, you got it. And I don't ever want to go through what it was back, I can't remember how many years ago it was, when we were literally broke.
well, you can try to plan all you want, and you're still going to have a big expense pop up out of nowhere. And if you got no funds,
Murphy's Law.
pretty much.
well, if we run out of funds, what do? We're a business. We don't have money to pay our staff. We don't have money to fix whatever emergent situation arises. That's not smart.
I agree.
Well, another thing, for the.
Randy?
For,
In the book.
another thing is that, with the new homeowners association law that went into effect here several years ago, we're required to have a reserve fund to cover a certain amount of our required by law to keep that funding. So, that's another reason that, yeah, 500,000 is probably not enough.
But we're nowhere near that now.
No, we're nowhere near that now.
One of the things when we did the dam project, and I was on the phone calls to help try to enlighten everybody about it. One of the comments I got very strongly was, um, where is our rainy day fund? And what we're talking about is just replenishing something that existed back then, and then it wasn't enough. So it was a comment, very, very strong, if you all remember back to those comments, and that's what we're talking about. And we really are talking basic infrastructure things here.
Keeping the lights on.
So, yep, keeping the lights on.
Can I add to that, Dan?
Yep.
We tried to do a dam rainy day fund, and we were gonna put $5,000 a month into a fund and just kind of earmark it for, Eagle Claw and Needles Dam work. We didn't really want to go back, none of us wanted to go back to membership and say, well, we got another dam problem, we got other lakes. We didn't have the operating cash to actually do it. We just had to fund it, suspend it, because we couldn't fund our, we were trying to fund our capital and our depreciation because that was more important. So, we are not, Dan's point, we're still not putting any kind of rainy day fund away for any future dam repairs. And, if a major problem happened to Eagle Claw or Tomahawk or Arrowhead, we would have to go back to the membership at that point, because we have no rainy day fund for dam repair, any kind of major lake repair point.
I don't think any fund has been totally funded as it, since we're
We're in better shape than we were a year ago.
Right. I remember conversations like that.
But it's still,
like, we can't
it's
afford to
still
put
not.
that money in that we need to put in.
We made a lot of progress on that, Dwayne, but we're still not completely caught up with funding our capital and depreciation. We've done well in the last year.
Any more questions? At this point, will I get a motion to approve the 2020, given the time schedule that we have, we'll get the language written up and then formalized before, but nevertheless, I think that's where we're at. Do we table it tonight? Do we vote on it tonight?
What is our time frame that we have to have it voted on
10
by?
days, about 10 days.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, our next meeting in 2 weeks is too far.
Let's give it a shot now, because if it doesn't pass, it gives us a chance to do it next week.
I mean, we can always call a special meeting of our membership as well. Obviously, we did that with the dam assessment. That was a special meeting, a special assessment meeting. But if we wanted to do this, I mean, again, the whole idea is to make it as visible to people, and people know there's an annual meeting and scheduled every year. That was my preference when we were talking about putting the schedule, was to get it on the August meeting. I think Scott made the comment, well, people know it's there, they can make it when they have that meeting. I feel that's, to me, that's the best idea, so Dennis, you're making.
I think it's a great idea.
Think it this way.
A movement to accept this platform and go forward with these dollars.
It's the funding. I mean, we don't, the budget, we can continue to work on, and the management committee will make proposals. The idea would be, again, let me speak for what I'm thinking, what I'm thinking we're saying, and feel free to discuss that. Would be the $20 this year on January 1, another $20 on June 1 of 2020, and then 21, I'm sorry, yeah, I've got all the things already, and then the final $20 in the following January. That's the $60 total. So we will go from 168 to $228 by the time we get to that third year. That's what the monthly assessment will be. We're not asking for an increase in the road assessment this time. We will not be asking for the CPIW. We'll have to put that in the language, that the CPIW would not be part of that. What we get into in the details, I think the management committee we always ask them to bring their plans to us, which they've done here tonight, knowing full well, that there's going to be changes, but nevertheless, that the things that are proposed here are very serious infrastructure needs, and funding our depreciation and capital schedules going forward. And so I think Dennis is.
I'll make the motion. I'll second the motion.
Greg seconds. Any further discussion?
So is there, so the idea then of a rate increase and a special assessment is just, it's off the table? There's no options there that we could come up with? I mean, I'm concerned that $60 a month is gonna be tough for some people living in here. And I wanna make sure that we're in charge of overseeing all the finances here for Hideaway. I wanna make sure we're making the right call. I guess that's why I was thinking maybe more about the assessment increase and a special assessment to pay for these things that we need is what I want to go out there.
I just looked those up today. The average, well, I don't know what you call it, assessment in the state of Ohio right now is between $200 and $300 a month, period.
Okay.
That's the average across the board. And I mean, we have lived in condo associations that didn't have anywhere near what we have here. And so if that's the average, we're just bringing ourselves up to average.
Well, we're getting rid of the dam assessment.
It'd be nice if we could have coincided this with the ending of the dam assessment and just.
Well, that's what we're trying to.
Well, I understand that.
We're trying to step it in. I mean, I agree with you. I mean, yes.
But it isn't a perfect world.
So what we're doing now is basically just put this together to give to membership, so membership then can make the final decision.
And then we're gonna e-vote ballot language once we see that between now and the next 10 days.
That is correct. That would be mine.
I don't think we have to have the ballot ready in 10 days. I think it's 60 days it's gotta go out, so
That's right.
we've got a little bit longer
For the actual.
for the actual ballot reading, but we do have to have it on the table that this is what it's gonna be, the funding.
But we might as well get it done. But you have a point, Eric, again, but I think it's a case of, we need the funds if they want the Hideaway Hills to be what it is.
I just wanna make sure we get it right, so we don't have to come back in
Right.
2 years or 3 years and say, hey, we need to.
Wasn't it also pointed out that by the time we get through this 3-year period, that the CPI would have increased almost $20 more by then?
Could be on the
Close to,
yeah, close to $15 to $20.
So you're looking at 40, but I'm doing it the last 11 years.
Well, yeah, but, that's, I mean, that's the reason the CPI didn't pass the first time. We put a 5-point limit on it because we could see, you can think back what happened in the 70s. And so that's why we put the 5. It's not gonna go beyond 5 points. But, and then plus the fact that as you increase your monthly assessment, the points go up.
That 5 points is more.
Yeah, well, not the 5 points, whatever it is, it's more on 137.
Correct.
All right, so we have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion? All right, I'd like to take a vote on the motion, which would be the 20-20-20 and the suspension of the CPIW for the next 3 years. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That concludes our. Okay. We need a motion to adjourn. So moved. All in favor, say aye. Hang on for a few seconds. We got a executive session.
Sure.
It won't be very long.
Well, I was at. And you were not there.
Tim, how's it going?
Good job, buddy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Really? We'll take it.
Absolutely. I
I'm just like
2020.
I think it will work.
Especially since you pointed out.
I've been retired too long, too. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
I won't be here. You'll be here. Yeah, but I will not be here.
Because this isn't a problem. I'm questioning where some